Back, but the same old story for the Giants to start the season. Russell Wilson and the offense were stymied all game long against the Commanders, who looked great, only managing to put up 6 points, squandering multiple opportunities in the red zone. New York has now dropped their third straight season opener. After the game, Brian Daboll's non-committal about who would be the starting quarterback week 2.
Is it safe to say that Russell is still your starter?
Yes. I mean, we're just right here after the game. I got confidence. We got to do better around overall, coaches, players, around everybody. So, we'll get focused and ready to go on Dallas. Go ahead, Brian.
In fairness, you're not answering this. Sounds like you're not answering.
Well, we're talking about after every game. I got confidence in Russ. So we're going to go back. We'll evaluate the tape. This game isn't on Russell Wilson. It's not on Russell Wilson. I want to make that clear. So I have confidence in Russ. We got to do a better job all the way around.
I don't know if you want to evaluate the tape. It's going to be a rough watch. S.A., how soon should the Giants start Jaxson Dart?
Week 3. Give Russell Wilson one more week and then bring Jaxson Dart in there. Peter, Cam, here's the reason why, okay? And put them up on the screen because I want to see both of them when I say this. It's not on Russell Wilson because the offensive line is trash. They can't protect, they can't run block, they can't protect the quarterback. We know that. Ultimately, that comes down to the GM and Shannon and Coach Dable. Coach Dable, however, is a coach of the year. I'm sick and tired of people acting like the man don't know what he's doing if you give him the requisite parts. If you give him what he needs, he has proven that he can coach on this level. He helped Josh Allen become what he has ultimately become. He took the Giants to a playoff with Daniel Jones as his quarterback. He was a coach of the year. We know what the man can do. Just give him the pieces. You got to give him an offensive line. Having said that, here's what I would say, and this is why I wanted both of you up on the screen. Peter, your years covering the NFL. Cam, you being who the hell you are. Especially you, Cam. I know you ain't going to try to deny what I'm about to say. This kid, Neighbors, for the Giants, is a baller. We all know this. You see his body language?
Yeah.
You see him on that sideline? This is not a man that is happy. He is not a man that looks confident in who you have out there. Russell Wilson is a Super Bowl champion. We know he's a veteran. We know he can play. But when you talk about Dable and Shane possibly being on a hot seat, their future, their job security being on the line, you can't allow this season to nosedive so quickly. You got to do something to try to save your own hide. And that's why Jaxson Dart's got to be put in there sooner than later. Your offensive line is suspect. You really don't want to expose a rookie to that. I get that. But you also want a cat out there that other brothers believe in. And you want the organization to send you a message that we doing what we can to make this a season, as opposed to sending a message very, very early on that we ain't worth a damn and we ain't going to be worth a damn. You cannot do that. If you're Dable, if you're Shane, and you want to continue to be employed by the New York Giants, you've got to get Dart in there sooner than later. And I'm not blaming Russell Wilson for yesterday's loss. I'm saying he does nothing at this stage and point in his career to motivate, to galvanize, to enthuse his teammates. He just doesn't have that kind of impact. And watching Neighbors' body language, Cam, I saw a brother that he literally was on the sideline looking like, we ain't worth the damn. We ain't worth the damn. That's how he looked. You cannot have that.
Cam?
Respectfully, Stephen A., let's call a spade. When has Russell Wilson ever gave you that type of feeling of being a dynamic player since his Seattle days?
Not yet. Not since Seattle.
Him in Denver. When you look. So with that type of situation, when I'm looking at his stat line, those were rookie-esque type of stat lines, right? Malik Neighbors serves as something that we know that the NFL has in premier receivers. They want the football, right? It's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Malik Neighbors is a mega star in New York that we're used to seeing, right? So I'm looking at a situation where Russell Wilson, you have T-1/2 to show what you're capable of. Anything other than that, bro, honestly, and speaking from experience, when they draft a quarterback as high as they drafted Jaxson Dart, it's only a matter of time. right? When I'm looking at the next couple of games where you have the Cowboys, I don't know if that's a win. Chiefs, I don't even know if that's a win. The Chargers, I don't know if that's a win. So you're potentially looking at an 0-4 start here. And then you play the Saints. Oh, and by the way, what's after the Saints? The Eagles. So, I mean, the time is now, right? Russell, if you have anything left in your career, bro, we need to see it. Will the real Russell Wilson cook and stand up? Because if you don't, insert Jaxson Dart, and Jaxson Dart does multiple things outside of just being a talent or a skill set. It gives and provides hope for the future, right? Malik Neighbors knows that he's the greatest asset to a young quarterback because you have an outlet, and all top tier and premier receivers want is opportunities to get the ball thrown to him in any given circumstance, and that's not happening with Russell Wilson under the helm.
Peter?
Gentlemen, as someone who lives in New York and has many of people in my life who are diehard Giants fans and season ticket holders, I will tell you this. The vibe change in the course of 24 hours where I think the Giants were everyone's sleeper pick as of Saturday after their preseason and all the excitement of Abdul Carter to what they are right now, it's doom and gloom. I got a text this morning from my buddy Detro, season ticket holder, who was as high as could be coming into the season, says the kids aren't even in apple picking season yet and the season's over. They haven't even started brainstorming Halloween costumes yet and the season's over. And yet, that's not necessarily the case. Here's the deal. They brought in Russell Wilson essentially as a one-year rental, not knowing if they were going to be able to get Jaxson Dart in the draft. Jaxson Dart is drafted a month after they signed Russell Wilson. And the thought was, all right, we'll do a Mahomes, Alex Smith type situation where he'll learn and when he's ready. Well, Jaxson Dart is way, way further along than they even expected he was going to be. So the timeline completely changes. Russ didn't play great yesterday, but you know what? They're not tied to Russell Wilson. This isn't like Russell Wilson's got a 4-year deal where he's making $50 million a year and there's this conundrum. It's a 1-year deal, minimum money. Jaxson Dart might play as soon as next week, and I think the Giants would be thrilled to do that based on the ascension that Jaxson Dart has had over his first 5 weeks. In your first 5 weeks in the offense, obviously in training camp, but also with what he did in minicamp and impressing them there.
But Peter, real quick, and Stephen A., before you jump in, I'm a diehard Giants fan, and the O-line looked terrible. And I can't remember a time where I haven't talked about the offensive line being a problem for the New York Giants, and that's still not fixed. So what kind of situation are you putting Jaxson Dart in if they're not going to protect him? And then to Cam's point, you're looking at the schedule, and you're playing the Cowboys, and you're playing the Chiefs, and it's a gauntlet, and you throw this kid in. Stephen A.?
You have to know, I mean, you drafted this guy as the future. You've got to find out. You can't just say, well, we're going to pick the spots where we ease him in. I remember a couple of years ago, Deshaun Watson was the rookie quarterback for the Houston Texans, and Bill O'Brien was like, Tom Savage is our guy. 1 half in, Deshaun Watson was the quarterback. Last year, Jacoby Brissett is the guy in New England. A couple games in, it's Drake May's time. It's time. Like, it actually has to happen at some point. You rip the Band-Aid off, and I think you go with Russ. You start the game, as Stephen A. said, you start Russ against the Cowboys, but you have to keep your eyes wide open and say, hey, if Jaxson Dart, if the gap is not this different, let's get him in the game and let's see if he can handle the heat.
Well, that's what the whole point is, because what I'm saying to you, Pete, is this. We have to be honest. Dable and Shane may not be here. This is it. This is it. They could be fired. What you gonna do, sit back and be fired because you left Russell Wilson in? Really? That's what you gonna do? Nobody's that stupid. Nobody's that stupid. You're going to have to do something that says we're rolling the dice and we're taking a chance, but it's going to have to be you willing to admit our future's on the line. We got to try something. That's what this is about. That's what has to happen. That's why I'm talking to Jaxson Dart, because if it's not going to get any worse with Jaxson Dart than it is with Russell Wilson, and your job is on the line, what exactly is it that you have to lose? You have nothing to lose. You have to do this.
The D-line couldn't get stops. I mean, they played hard. There was no running game. But Cam, I'll give you the final word here.
Man, listen, with those clips, and I know it's granted, it's preseason, the thing that the New York Giants need from their quarterback is for that particular individual to be mobile. And when I mean mobile, a 2-yard scamper is better than a 3-yard sack or a throwaway, right? We've seen Jaxson Dart in these highlights alone show the capabilities that he's willing to run when the pocket gets murky. Russell Wilson is not doing that. Russell Wilson is a quarterback that has elusive capabilities in his repertoire, But when he's elusive, he's looking to extend the play, and he doesn't have that same badge that he once did, right? He's lost a step. But